The $10 million claim. The internet says Lil Poppa's mother inherited $10 million, but the deeper you look, the more that headline begins to crack. Behind that number is not a simple story of sudden wealth. It is a story about a grieving mother, a growing music estate, missing valuables, powerful family connections, and unanswered questions. When Lil Poppa died at only 25, fans rushed back to the songs that made them feel understood. Streams climbed, tributes spread, and his catalog gained financial weight. But while the public counted royalties and possible posthumous releases, his family was facing a loss no balance sheet could explain. Then the rumors exploded. People connected Lil Poppa's young son to Rick Ross's family. They pointed to the value of his music, the income still flowing from streaming, and the wealth surrounding his child's future. Soon, one number took over the conversation: $10 million. But there was another layer. On the day Lil Poppa died, his jewelry and personal bag reportedly disappeared. His family demanded answers, yet no clear explanation followed. The story was no longer only about what he earned, it was about what he left behind, who controlled it, and whether those closest to him would ever learn the truth. At the center stood his mother, Lynn Hixon. She never asked to become the face of an estate or defend her son's name before the world. Yet almost overnight, she was carrying grief, financial speculation, family pressure, and the duty of protecting a legacy. The internet was already turning into content. So, did she truly inherit $10 million? Or did the internet combine real assets, family ties, and speculation into one irresistible headline? That answer is where this story begins. Where are you watching from today? Comment your city or country below. Press 1 if you believe the truth behind this fortune has not been fully revealed. Or press 2 if you think the viral headline went too far. Subscribe now, because the next chapter reveals how Lil Poppa built the catalog that made this story possible. The voice Jacksonville could not ignore. Before the estate, before the missing jewelry, before the $10 million rumor, there was a young artist from Jacksonville trying to turn pain into proof that he had survived it. Lil Poppa did not build his name by pretending life was easier than it was. He built it by saying the parts most people were too afraid to admit. Jacksonville shaped his music from the beginning. The city gave him pressure, lust, and the kind of emotional weight that can either silence a person or force them to speak. Lil Poppa chose to speak. As a teenager, he began recording songs that blended melodic trap with raw confession. He was not chasing a polished image. He was documenting grief, fear, loyalty, and the daily struggle to become more than the streets expected. That honesty became his advantage. Listeners did not hear a character. They heard someone who sounded like he had lived every line. When he released Purple Hearts, the record carried the pain of losing close friends to gun violence. It did not feel manufactured. It felt like testimony. Fans connected because they recognized the emotion before they even understood every detail. From there, his audience grew one song at a time. Records like Love and War, Men Over Matter, and Happy Tears showed the same balance between toughness and vulnerability. His voice could sound wounded without sounding weak. That combination separated him from artists who only spoke about success after they had already escaped. Lil Poppa's rise was not built around one viral moment. It was built through consistency, trust, and a catalog that made listeners feel seen. By the time the industry began paying serious attention, his fans had already decided he was real. That loyalty would later become one of the most valuable parts of his estate. Because streams can be counted, but emotional connection is what keeps those streams alive. Chapter 3. A career that was still rising. Lil Poppa's story becomes even harder to process when you understand how much momentum he still had. His career was not fading, it was expanding. Each project added another layer to the audience he had built. And every collaboration pushed his name beyond Jacksonville, without stripping away the honesty that made people care in the first place. His collaboration with Polo G on Eternal Living introduced him to a wider national audience and became one of the records most closely connected to his legacy. The song carried the same qualities that defined his best work: pain without self-pity, ambition without pretending the past had disappeared, in a voice that sounded like it was fighting to stay hopeful. Signing with Collective Music Group placed him inside a larger rap operation. But he never sounded like a copy of the artists around him. His identity remained rooted in emotional storytelling. That mattered because labels can create visibility, but they cannot manufacture trust. Lil Poppa already had that trust before the deal. By 2025, he had released Almost Normal Again, a title that sounded reflective even before tragedy gave it heavier, meaning the project suggested an artist still processing his past while trying to imagine a more stable future. Then, only days before everything changed, he released another single. He was still recording, still planning, and still moving toward the next stage. There were shows ahead, unreleased songs, likely sitting in studio files, and a fan base that had not reached its ceiling. That unfinished momentum is one reason the estate conversation grew so quickly after his death. A catalog is valuable when it has history, but it can become even more valuable when listeners believe the artist was standing on the edge of a major breakthrough. The most painful part is not simply that Lil Poppa died young. It is that his story still appeared to be climbing. The music industry had not finished discovering him, his listeners had not finished growing with him, and his family had no time to prepare for the sudden transformation of a living career into a legacy that other people would immediately begin measuring in money. Chapter 4. The Day Everything Changed. On February 18, 2026, the conversation around Lil Poppa changed forever. According to the account in the source material, he was found after a sequence of events involving a car accident, a hotel parking lot, and a final period that his family would later struggle to understand. Authorities ultimately ruled his death a suicide. He was 25 years old. The news moved through hip-hop fast, but the emotional reality moved much slower. Fans saw a headline: his family lost a son, a brother, and a father. A 3-year-old child lost the chance to grow up with the man whose voice would continue playing everywhere. Tributes came from artists, collaborators, and listeners who had followed his music for years. His label described him as someone who poured pain, growth, and truth into his art. Fans returned to his catalog almost immediately, not because a marketing campaign told them to, but because grief often sends people back to the last place they felt connected. The tragedy did not end there. A public celebration of his life in Jacksonville was disrupted by another act of violence, injuring multiple people and adding fear to a community already trying to mourn. What should have been a moment of remembrance became another reminder of the environment Lil Poppa had spent years describing in his music. Then came the questions. What happened in the hours before his death? What was said during the conversations around him? Who had access to his belongings? What would happen to his music, royalties, and unreleased material? Those questions turned private grief into public investigation. Every missing detail became a new theory. Every financial estimate became a headline. Because Lil Poppa's career still had momentum, people quickly began treating his death not only as a tragedy, but as the beginning of an estate story. That shift was immediate and brutal. One day, Lynn Hixon was the mother of a rising artist. The next, she was standing at the center of a family crisis, an industry conversation, and a digital audience demanding answers she may not have had herself. Chapter 5. The Valuables That Disappeared. The most unsettling financial question was not about royalties. It was about the possessions Lil Poppa reportedly had with him on the day he died. According to his family, and jewelry and a personal Goyard bag could not be accounted for after the chaotic events surrounding the hotel parking lot. His sister went public because the family said they were not receiving clear answers. They contacted the towing company and local authorities, but the path of the missing items remained uncertain. The issue quickly became larger than the value of a chain, a watch, or a design obey. It became a question of respect and accountability. For a grieving family, personal belongings can carry a meaning that has nothing to do with resale price. They may be the final objects touched by someone who will never return. They may contain documents, memories, or private details that strangers would never understand. When those items disappear during the most painful hours of a family's life, the lack of explanation can feel like a second violation. Online, however, the story was immediately converted into numbers. People speculated about the jewelry's value, whether the bag contained cash, and who might have taken it. The more unanswered the situation remained, the more dramatic the theories became. The source material does not establish who was responsible for the missing property. And that distinction matters. Suspicion is not proof, but the family's public demand for answers became one of the strongest emotional threads in the entire story. They were not simply asking where expensive items went. They were asking why nobody could give them a complete account of what happened around their brother and son. That unresolved chapter also intensified interest in the estate. If his personal valuables could disappear so quickly, people began wondering who would protect the much larger assets. His music rights, royalties, recordings, brand value, and future releases. The missing bag became a symbol. It represented confusion, vulnerability, and the danger of leaving a young artist's legacy without clear control during the hours when his family was least prepared to defend it. Chapter 6. 4 Pillars Behind the Fortune. The $10 million claim did not appear from nowhere. It grew from 4 separate parts of Lil Poppa's story that online creators combined into one dramatic number. The first pillar was his music catalog. Lil Poppa left behind albums, popular records, millions of streams, publishing rights, and the possibility of unreleased music. Those assets can continue producing income through streaming, licensing, merchandise, and future projects. A catalog does not stop earning when an artist dies. In some cases, public attention causes its value to increase. The second pillar was his son's connection to Rick Ross's family, because the child's mother is described in the source as Rick Ross's daughter. The young boy became connected to one of hip-hop's most visible business families. That relationship led people online to mix Lil Poppa's estate with the broader wealth surrounding Rick Ross. Even though those are not the same financial structure, the third pillar was the missing jewelry and personal property. The unanswered questions encouraged people to imagine hidden cash, expensive assets, and a larger fortune that had not been publicly documented. Mystery made every estimate sound more believable. The fourth pillar was Lynn Hixon herself. Once she began speaking publicly, people assumed she had become the person controlling everything Lil Poppa left behind. But an artist's estate can involve contracts, publishing companies, labels, legal representatives, children, and other heirs. Public visibility does not automatically equal total ownership. Combined, these 4 pillars created the perfect viral formula: a tragic death, a valuable catalog, a wealthy family connection, missing property, and a grieving mother placed at the center. $10 million was simple enough to fit inside a thumbnail. The truth was far more complicated. The important distinction is that value is not the same as cash in someone's bank account. A catalog may generate money over many years. A family connection may create future support without being an inheritance. Unreleased music may have potential without having a confirmed price. The number became powerful because it compressed every possibility into one claim. Even though the public record described in the source did not confirm that Lynn personally received $10 million. Chapter 7. The Rick Ross Family Connection. The Rick Ross connection changed the way the internet interpreted everything. Lil Poppa shared a young son with Toy Roberts, identified in the source material as Rick Ross's daughter. That made Lil Poppa's child the grandson of a rapper known not only for music, but for business ownership, real estate, brand partnerships, and a long-running catalog. Once that relationship became widely discussed, speculation moved beyond Lil Poppa's own earnings. People began talking about trust funds, generational wealth, private support, and what the child might eventually inherit from the Roberts family. None of those possibilities automatically meant Lil Poppa's mother received money. But online conversations often blurred the difference. That blur was essential to the $10 million story. A young artist with a growing catalog might have a valuable estate. A child connected to a wealthy grandfather might have access to future resources. Put those two ideas together, remove the legal details, and a viral headline can make it sound as though one person suddenly received a confirmed fortune. The deeper truth is more personal. At the center of this discussion is a child growing up without his father. Financial security may protect parts of his future, but it cannot replace memories that were never created. The family connection matters, but not only because of money. It also means multiple families now share the responsibility of protecting the child from public speculation surrounding his father's death. Rick Ross's public success made the story larger, but it also risked overshadowing Lil Poppa's own work. His catalog had value because he built it. His fans remained loyal because his music spoke to them. His son's connection to another famous rapper did not create that legacy. Still, the relationship gave the story a scale it would not otherwise have had. Every estimate sounded bigger. Every rumor traveled farther. Every discussion about the estate became tied to a much larger image of hip-hop wealth. And that is where the public began confusing proximity to wealth with possession of wealth. The family connection was real. The financial conclusions drawn from it were far less certain. Chapter 8. A mother forced into the spotlight. Before her son's death, Lynn Hixon was not a celebrity, executive, or public spokesperson. She was a mother from Jacksonville who had watched her son turn private pain into music. Then, almost overnight, she became the person audiences expected to explain his final days, defend his name, and protect everything attached to his legacy. The pressure was impossible. Strangers were estimating the value of her son's catalog while she was still grieving him. Comment sections debated whether she had become rich. Videos used her loss as a headline. At the same time, her family was searching for missing belongings and trying to understand details that remained unclear. Instead of disappearing completely, Lynn chose to speak. Following the release of Toxicology, information described in the source, she addressed her son's struggles with depression, anxiety, and substance use. She did not present those details as gossip. She framed them as a warning to other families and as an attempt to tell the truth without reducing her son to the circumstances of his death. That choice changed the emotional center of the story. The headline suggested luxury. Her words revealed burden. What she had inherited was not simply money. It was the responsibility of protecting a complicated human being from being remembered only through tragedy. She described him as a loving father and a good-hearted person whose talent and care for others deserved to remain part of the conversation. She asked people to remember the child he left behind. Most importantly, she used attention. She never requested to speak about battles that many young artists hide until the consequences become irreversible. Public honesty can be powerful, but it also comes with a cost. Every statement invites judgment. Every detail can be clipped, reposted, and removed from context. Lynn had to grieve while knowing that millions of strangers might analyze every word. That is why describing her life as insane only makes sense when the word refers to pressure, not luxury. She became the face of an estate she did not create, the defender of a legacy she never expected to manage, and a mother forced to carry private pain in front of a public audience. Chapter 9. The truth behind the viral headline. By the time the story reached millions of viewers, the phrase Lil Poppa's mother inherited $10 million sounded like an established fact. But the source material eventually admits something crucial. No public document cited in the narrative confirms that Lynn Hixon directly received that amount. What does appear real is the underlying value surrounding the family. Lil Poppa's catalog can continue generating royalties. His streaming audience expanded after his death. Publishing, licensing, merchandise, and possible posthumous releases could produce income for years. His son is also connected to a financially successful family through Rick Ross. But those facts do not equal a $10 million payment to one person. They describe a network of potential assets, future revenue, family relationships, and public estimates. The viral headline compressed that entire network into a single number because simple claims attract attention faster than complicated truths. This does not make the story meaningless. It makes the real story more important. The central question is not whether Lynn woke up with $10 million, it is whether Lil Poppa's work will be managed carefully, whether his son will benefit from the legacy his father created, whether missing property will ever be accounted for, and whether unreleased music will be handled with respect. There is also a larger lesson about how grief becomes content. The internet rewards certainty. Even when certainty does not exist, a thumbnail can turn an estimate into an inheritance. a family connection into a transfer of wealth, and a mother's pain into entertainment. Once the number spreads, corrections rarely travel as far as the original claim. Lil Poppa's estate may become highly valuable over time. That possibility should not be dismissed. But future earnings, catalogue projection, and family wealth must be separated from confirmed money already received. The truth is less explosive, but more human. Lynn did inherit something enormous: public responsibility, unresolved questions, and the duty to preserve her son's voice. The financial value may grow, but the emotional cost was immediate. And as the final chapter will reveal, the most important part of Lil Poppa's legacy was never the number people placed beside his name. The legacy money cannot measure. In the end, the $10 million headline was never the most important part of Lil Poppa's story. The real value was created long before the rumors in the song. The loyalty of his fans, the love he had for his son, and the honesty that made strangers feel understood. Strategically, this story shows why artists and families need protection before a crisis. Music rights, publishing splits, unreleased recordings, personal property, passwords, and estate instructions should never be left in confusion. Fame does not protect a legacy. Clear planning and people who place the family above quick profit do. There is also a lesson for the audience. Viral headlines can reduce a complicated life to one shocking number: money. Famous relatives and catalog estimates do not automatically prove an inheritance. Before sharing a claim, people should separate confirmed facts from speculation. Curiosity is natural, but grief should never become entertainment. The deepest lesson is human. Success does not make anyone immune to depression, anxiety, addiction, loneliness, or emotional exhaustion. Strength is not silence, and asking for help is not weakness. Families, friends, labels, and communities must listen without judgment, encourage professional support, and respond before a private struggle becomes an irreversible loss. Lil Poppa's music survived because it came from truth. His voice still reaches listeners who recognize their own pain inside his words. That is the legacy worth protecting, not through blame or exploitation, but through compassion, accountability, peace, and care for the child and family he left behind. Do you believe Lil Poppa's legacy is being protected the right way? Comment 1 if his music and family should remain the priority. Or 2, if the industry still has difficult questions to answer. Like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more stories that look beyond the headline and search for the truth